the special issue was really novel and interesting to me in the way that it really wanted to foreground archaeology's ability to convey messages, and some of them really important messages about, how we adapt to the changes we cannot change, that they're happening, environmental change, mass migration, the various issues and the challenges that are facing us now. Archaeology can't provide the answer to all of these, but it provides ways of thinking because it indicates manners in which in the past such challenges have been met or sometimes not. And so part of that importance of the messaging is being able to convey it clearly. And I had kind of tinkered with school-based activities, and I had done a couple of projects in secondary or primary schools, but I had never had the opportunity to work closely with people whose job it is to convey messages to school kids, so educators. And so that was really compelling to me, that the editors were able to bring together a team that had that really strong African archaeology expertise and the educator expertise, and the people who can bring that information into a classroom and try and engage people, or in fact, not just the classroom, of course, the field site or the street, wherever you would like. And so the importance, I think, of archaeology and of educating through archaeology really comes out in this set of papers. And there's something extremely evocative about material remains. You can be in any trench in the world and you'll get people who come and stop by and see what you're doing, and who get very interested, even if all you're finding is fish bone. They find that it's a very evocative. It reminds you of that link to the past. People will typically say, oh, the last person who handled this died 800 years ago, or whatever it may be. So there's profound groundedness. And that's another reason also why I think people are interested in the messaging at the minute that archaeology can bring, because not only is it very evocative, it's also quite socially just, in the sense that you're recovering evidence which relates to a vast range of past people and statuses. It's very physical, and it's out in nature, or at least in an urban landscape sometimes, but mainly outdoors pretty much. And that's linked with improved outcomes for well-being and health. And people, I think, are very interested nowadays in trying to find these connections with place and with space, trying to understand what it is that makes an object or a piece of the landscape very valuable. And often you find, for example, I'm thinking of a case in Ghana, where colleagues who were archaeologists in the university there in Accra were brought in by developers because communities were unwilling to relocate during the construction of a large dam. And it took the intercession of archaeologists to kind of make that link explicit and to open the communication channels between the developers and the local communities, who were concerned that they would be losing their heritage and identity by being forced to relocate. And this is what you see around the world happening time and time again. And you see that certain development programs or big infrastructure works are running into local opposition. Very often that is because there is a profound connection of people with their landscape. And just to take the example of where I'm based, the East Anglian shoreline of the UK is very subject to erosion. Lots of heritage is being lost, and there is a huge amount of interest in engaging with the communities being affected and in trying to determine what can be salvaged of this coastal heritage, which is being endangered by climate change at present, and also broader environmental issues.